All right, in this After Effects lesson, we're going to add some noise and some effects to the screen. We're going to look at adding this white, bright. I call it like a technical defect going through the screen, and we're going to look at adding some of these lines that are going through, and this noise that look like squares in the background that are kind of going back and forth. All right, so let's get started. Let's go into our hologram screen comp, and under our effects and presets, we're going to look up fractal noise. So right here under noise and grain, and we're going to grab our fractal noise and we're going to add that to our hologram screen. So I'm going to drag it down here, and there it's showing up. Kind of looks like a cloud, and we're going to try to make that look a little more square, just to give it kind of more of a techie look. That's under noise type. I'm going to change that from soft linear to block. The fractal type I'm going to leave basic, but you're welcome to try out some of those. The opacity, I'm going to have some of that blue in the background kind of show up a little bit, so I'm going to change that a little bit. Maybe 75. I'm going to bring my brightness down a little bit, just give a little bit of a darker look. That way my white shows up a little bit better. If you think it looks a little too blue. Maybe 77, okay. Now let's see, what do I want to try out next? Okay. The next thing I was going to do is I'm going to try to animate these blocks, just kind of maybe have them kind of move a little bit to look like they're doing something, just to have something going on in the background. So under my hologram screen and under effects, it's under the fractal noise, and you'll see the inverts right here. It should be up here also, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to give it a keyframe, and basically I'm just kind of going to move my time indicator a little bit. I'm going to click on the where it says off. I'm just going to click and drag it to the right, and it turns on. And I move my time indicator a little bit, and I click and drag it to the left, and it turns it off. So basically I'm just trying to turn it off and on, off and on. Do that a few times. You should see up here each time I do that, it should move a little bit. And as you scrub through, you'll see that the squares just kind of move. All right, and now I'm going to click and drag all those keyframes. I'm going to Command C. Then I'm going to paste. Give myself a few frames. Maybe kind of check my hologram over here and see if it's working okay. Which looks like it's okay. So now let's go ahead and add our lines going in the screen. So let's go back to our screen comp, and then we're going to look up Venetian Blinds. So V-E-N-E, and you should see it under here under Transition Wipes. So the Venetian Wipes, I'm going to add this once again to my hologram screen. So I'll click and drag it down here on my screen. Let me turn my fractal noise down here so you can see this up here a little bit better. You'll see everything disappeared. That's because it's either comes up as 0 or 100. So 100, it's gone. As you bring it down, you can see the space in between is really large. The closer you get to 100, and then the closer you get down to 0, the smaller the lines become. And maybe right now just start at about 30%. I'm going to change the width. Kind of like it to be a little bit bigger so I can kind of get a good, so I can see them pretty good. And maybe I can make those lines in between a little bit smaller. Change that down to maybe 20. That looks pretty good. The direction, it's at -90 right now. You can change that to be whatever direction you want. Maybe you could animate maybe a little something like that. I'm just going to change that to 90. Maybe say if you wanted just like a little glitch or something. So that's what these things with these technologies is adding a little glitches with all of this. So maybe we'll go into that effect there under, this is fractal noise. I want the Venetian blinds. Maybe direction. We'll give it a keyframe under direction. Maybe I'll just move it a couple frames. Change the direction maybe just a little bit. Maybe a couple frames again. Maybe back to 90. Just kind of make it look like a glitch. Almost so quick you can't even see it there. Move it maybe a couple more frames. See how that looks. Oh. Yeah. Hard to see for timing, but just like a quick thing. If I want it maybe to kind of show up every once in a while, just maybe do a copy of those keyframes. I'll paste. And it looks like my blinds kind of disappear about right there. Oh, because I have some keyframes in there. I don't know how they got there. Under my transition completion, I'm just going to delete those. But I would like my width to be a little bit bigger. Yeah, about 20. All right, let me go back to my hologram and see how that's looking. That looks pretty good. All right, now the next thing I'm going to add is that white line kind of scrolling through the hologram. Okay, so let's go into our screen comp. Now what we're going to do here, there's probably different ways you can do this. I'm just going to go ahead and select everything that's in my screen comp. And I'm just going to duplicate it. So I'm going to go Edit, Duplicate. And then while all these are all still selected, I'm just going to click, I'm going to right click down here on one of them. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm just going to right click and pre-compose. I'm going to change the name to Screen Effect. Then hit OK. And you'll see now my screen effect is. So basically it's just a duplicate of all of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a mask to the screen effects. Make sure your screen effect is selected. I'm going to click on my rectangles tool. And I'm going to go outside of the window. And then I'm just going to click and drag and create a mask going through it. Okay, now that should create a second mask. Or I'm sorry, that would be my first one on this one. And then I'm going to add an effect. So we'll go Effect, Color Correction, and Brightness. And let's move the brightness up all the way to 150, and you'll see that just kind of gives it a very bright look in just that one section. I'm going to open up that mask, which is in my screen effect. So open up the mask. And we're going to have a feather. I'm going to add a little bit of feather to it. That looks pretty good. 40 or 50. Okay. Now I'm going to animate it. So let's bring our time indicator back to the beginning. And I'm going to give it a keyframe on the mask path. And for the first frame, I actually want it to be at the very top. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. In case yours isn't already selected with all the points selected, You see in the circle, you can just double click, and then you can just move it this way. Grab inside somewhere. Okay, so that's going to be my first frame right there. And I'm going to move it maybe about 3 seconds. I'm just going to, once again, let me double click. And then I'm going to bring it all the way back down to the bottom. So then it scrolls through like that. All right, and I'm just going to keep repeating that. So I'm going to click and drag and select both of my keyframes. I'm going to go to that last keyframe and just move it over one frame, and then I'm going to paste it. So I copied it, and I'm going to paste. I'm going to do it again. So I already copied it. Sorry, I might not have showed the copy in the beginning. I'm going to paste, and paste. Okay, and then you can see it going through it. Now let's kind of look over at our hologram and see if it's looking okay. And there you can see it going through the hologram. Okay, and I think that's the end of this lesson.